to be a kind of like, it's a channel, it's a download that I got, and I wrote it in my iPhone, like the notes and everything. So I'm going to share it with you, and then at the end, Spirit led me to do a reading. So I'm going to pull, in the way that I'm led to. So basically, the channel that I got was from the Lover's card and the Devil card. So, I mean, this might be a little hard to get through because it's going to probably be a little bit long. And on top of the information I already have, I'm probably going to channel more. So, if you have a low attention span, you know, take a breather, whatever, come back. Or if, if it's meant for you, it's meant for you. Spirit speaks how they speak. I'm only being a divine vessel. I'm not going to rush myself to appease anybody or do this for 10, 20, 15, and whatever. Spirit will give the information in the length, whether it's of a short or long length, and how it needs to be received. So however you process it, that is for you. But yeah, other than that, I'm just a vessel. Like, I'm not on here to appease anybody's ego and subscribers and all that. Like, this is solely for me being a messenger, okay? It's solely what this is about. I'm going to be obedient to it because I know it's going to bless those who it's meant for. If it's not meant for you, I mean, it is what it is. It's cool, okay? So, the Lover's card from the Rider-Waite inspired this message, this guidance. It came to me like Spirit showed me the vision of the Lover's card while I was taking a shower. As some of y'all probably heard me say, when I'm in the shower, I always get like downloads. So when I was in the shower, I seen a vision of the lovers. And Spirit was showing me the woman in the card, which is Eve, I guess, a depiction of Adam and Eve. So Eve in the card looking up at the Archangel, which is Archangel Raphael. So Archangel Raphael, his name means God heals. Thus the angel, he is the angel that is helped or helps with healing forces or healing with, he is a healing force, excuse me. So in this card, he's blessing, protecting, and divinely governing and overseeing the man and the woman in the garden in the card. He's also known as the angel of the air, hence the healing communication. The lovers is the zodiac sign Gemini, ruling planet Mercury, which is communication. So it's divine conversation throughout this entire card, whether it's between the woman and the angel or the angel towards the man and the woman. The man and the woman are having divine communication, and it's healing communication. So I'm going to get into the download. So back to Archangel Raphael. Um, he reflects God's everlasting unconditional love and mending of the heart. When you look at the lovers versus the devil, the lovers in the couple in the lovers card, their hands are open, they're free, they're receptive. When you look at the devil card, they are bound and restricted to this force, this being. When we talk about the divine, the most high, the God, the Alpha, the Omega, there's an energy of unconditional love. It's an all energy, an energy of one love, oneness. So this card talks about the importance of unity and love, basically. Divine love. That's what this is about. And divine love is not just subject to romantic connections. We call them that, divine connections, to put it in a box along with twin flame or soulmates, whatever you want to call it. But divine love is God's love of all and of all things, if that makes sense. So the blessing and the creation of man and woman as well, that's the beauty of this card. It's the importance of its unity and its love. It's also the creation of man and woman, the blessing that which it is. The favor of divine love and union / marriage between the feminine and masculine. So, you know how like some people like Christian teachings and stuff, or like when you go to church or when you read the Bible, when they talk about marriage, they always say that marriage is a gift from God. no man, God wants no man to be alone, right? That's what they say in the Bible. And one of my favorite scriptures and one of my favorite numbers is 222. That's, for me, that is a sign of divine connection. So Genesis 2:22 popped up in my mind, and in that scripture it says, "And the rib that the rib that the Lord God had taken from the man, he made it into a woman and brought her into unto the man." So what I take from that, because that's debatable as far as like a woman coming out of a man's rib and all of that, that goes against what I feel like divine creation even speaks of, but who am I to say that? But anyway, the whole, when I read it on a metaphysical level, it's basically saying divine ordained union in marriage. Like spirit created this man for this woman and this woman for this man, and he brought them together, or this partner and this partner, but we're going to say this man and this woman ordained them for divine union, divine marriage, right? Divine marriage and divine union does not have to be the worldly perception, walking down the aisle and I do's and all of that. It's a soul connect first before it manifests as something physical, a physical agreement and a vow and an oath towards you and another person to share your life. So in the card of the Garden of Eden, as they also talk about in the Bible, because that's what this card is depicting, the Garden of Eden, the divine gift and birthright that God gave to Adam and Eve of having dominion over all things on the earth, right? When you're given such spiritual authority, it requires great responsibility, and for you to walk in your divine authority and be of integrity, right? When you're given such power as dominion over the earth. It says that too in the Bible, that we have dominion over all things in this earth. So the snake, there's a snake behind the woman, Eve, on the lover's card, wrapped around a tree, and it has fruit, which is the tree of knowledge in the Bible, right? So the tree and the fruit being connected to the feminine essence, that's like Mother Earth, when you think of fruit, you think of femininity, the sweetness and the succulent, all of that is feminine energy, the feminine principle, which that represents. That's why it stands on her side. The man is also viewing that tree in his sight, in his view. He's looking at the woman, and the tree is behind her. So that kind of goes into the whole thing where the men follows the lead of the feminine. There would be no man without feminine energy, without the birth, without the mother birthing them out, right? You can take that as gender, male, or you can take that as humanity. There would be no humanity without that divine birth creation first, right? Out of the feminine energy, out of the womb, which is the universe, the whole of the universe. So as far as that depiction goes with Eve and the whole tree and everything, Eve causes the destruction of God's promise by being disobedient, as they show in the Bible, right? Where the serpent was speaking to her and saying, if you eat off this tree of knowledge, you'll have even more knowledge and you'll be able to have the sight of God and blah, blah, blah. But it was forbidden because God said, don't eat that fruit, right? So what does Adam do? He follows the lead of the feminine. He goes ahead and he eats the fruit, right? So the tree in this instance it represents the wisdom and knowledge. Fruit represents abundance as well. So the snake can also represent transformation. It can represent the kundalini, sexual energy, the sacral chakra energy. But in this instance, it's trickery. So it's like, how I take this is seeking that knowledge and that wisdom outside of the divine. Temptation can come in the form of tests, spiritual attacks, confusion, illusions, despair, ungodly slash malevolent connections and deceptions to throw you off of your path, and to also take your eyes off of God and the divine will and divine guidance. All of this is an attempt to steal your promise / your birthright. So again, your birthright, whatever that is, we all have the birthright. We all have power and dominion over all things in the earth, according to the knowledge and wisdom of God, which is the seed of your mind, basically. Um, so whatever you've been promised, whatever your birthright is, let's say it is a divine connection, divine union, for the sake of blah, 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 because the divine union just doesn't stop at two men or two women coming together, or a man and woman coming together and oh, that's it. There's a purpose behind a divine. If spirit brought two people together for the sake of divine union, there's a bigger, greater purpose behind them. And that's where the angel comes in, because that's a higher purpose. There's an overseer for a reason. They have something that they're supposed to do. They're supposed to come together. So, so the temptation of the snake is to attempt to steal the promise and the birthright, because Adam and Eve were given the Garden of Eden was their blessing. It was their promise. It was their birthright in that instance. And it also caused discord between the two, and discord between both with the overseer, the divine, right? So it not only causes disharmony, but also causes distortion of your union, your partnership, and your person, your partner. So the burning bush, which stands where Adam is, the male on the card, the burning bush is a reminder of God's power, God's light, your higher calling, the omnis of God, the reverence of divine power. So the fire is the masculine principle. It's the action behind the creation of God. So the feminine represents the creation, and the masculine energy or the masculine principle represents the action behind the creation. So feminine energy is the womb, and the masculine energy is the seed that goes into the womb, right? So I was guided to share this post from Instagram. My sister sent it to me. The Instagram page is Queen of Light 1111, and she did a post on Shakti and Shiva and the metaphysical purpose and meaning of Shakti and Shiva. So Shakti means the power of strength, which is the feminine principle. As we teach in the community about yin and yang, sun and moon, or divine masculine, divine feminine, it is important to understand that both energies are within you. The yang, the sun, the divine masculine, is the active energy, the action. The yin, the moon, the divine feminine, is activating its energy receptivity. Shiva symbolizes the consciousness, the masculine principle. Shakti symbolizes the feminine principle, the activating power and energy. Whenever a power becomes active and whenever energy exists, Shakti is working. This is why I'm reading the post. This is why I remind all of you about your own personal awareness and healing. The feminine is the energetic leader, and the masculine is the action. The action is based on the energy activated. Only when Shiva and Shakti can combine can action, movement, and creation arise. Both require each other. It's important to note that distorted / unawakened energy / action affects the supreme balance. If feminine is unbalanced and chases, she will lead masculine to run, and that creates distortion. Then when masculine runs, his action is ineffective, aimless, and will produce nothing. It is consciousness, awareness, and healing of the distorted self that aligns and ultimately combines the two, because, after all, they are truly one. Distortion / unawareness creates the separation of Shiva and Shakti. Tempering and balancing out these energies create the divine path back to oneness, back to inner and outer union. So now, let's get back into, that was the post. So what this is telling you why the feminine is looking towards the angel in the card. She's looking up at the angel and Adam is looking at her. So she's looking up at the angel in the heavens, aka she's looking up at the spirit realm. She's looking into the spirit realm, into the spirit, where she receives her divine guidance and her healing. Archangel Raphael, again, is the healing power of God, and he also helps with the heart chakra. So, as they say, when you heal, so does your person heal. It's true, because you're one. When you're one within yourself, regardless of your gender body, whether you're male or female body, when you are one with your divine self, your masculine and feminine energy, or you're doing your healing work, it reflects outside of self. Or if you're healing your feminine energy, your person could also be mirroring you and healing theirs, or healing their masculine. You know, it's a anything going on with the self is basically a physical manifestation of that. So the man looking towards the woman, it's because she is the light, she's the divine portal, the human manifestation of the power of divine creation, the feminine principle, the divine mother, Mother Earth. So when you inspire action through your receptivity of spirit, so that's obedience to the soul. When you're receptive to spirit, you get inspired guidance and inspired action. So the subconscious and the divine portal / the womb receives the seed. So in the subconscious realm, in the spirit realm, you are receiving the download, the seed, to birth it out and manifest it. And the masculine principle is carrying the action out. So we flip that into a situation between two people in the physical realm. The feminine energy gets their spiritual guidance. They do as they're guided to do. It responds, or it activates an action into the masculine to do, basically. So the action is then carried out through the masculine, which is the seed that plants itself into the womb, which is the practical physical manifestation of what was created via the womb, or the divine portal, which is the feminine. So as above, so below, basically, is what I'm saying. So this also ties into the balance of yourself. So again, remember that you are both the yin and the yang, ultimately, in essence and energy. Therefore, when we balance this energy out, or basically how we, spirit help me, basically what I'm trying to say, when we balance how we utilize both the feminine and masculine principles, it's in our highest state. When we're in our highest state, we're not using toxic femininity, we're not using toxic masculinity, but we're utilizing it in the highest state, in its healthy, natural state. We are whole. We are a whole one being. We are both feminine and masculine. We need each other, yin and yang. What happens is that you naturally align with your divine feminine, your divine masculine outside of yourself. So when you're aligned within, you align with your person naturally. So a perfect example of this is the kings and the queens in the tarot. So they're perfect expressions of how feminine and masculines can utilize both energies, no matter their genders. So the suits, the swords, and the wand suits in the tarot are masculine principles. So when you think about the feminines in that suit, the Queen of Wands or the Queen of Swords, they're embodying both their feminine and masculine principles. When you think about the suit of Pentacles and Cups, those are feminine principles. So then, for example, the King of Cups or the King of Pentacles, they would be masculine energies that are also embodying their feminine energy. It's a balance. So the choice element in the Lovers, because it's not just a soulmate card, it's not just a twin flame card or whatever you want to call it, or a love romantic energy. It also has the element of choice, because it's a duality. It's the ruling of Gemini. It's two dual energies. So what Spirit gave me is the choice element of the Lovers is choosing whom you shall serve. Came to me. That was the scripture that came to me, which is Joshua 24:15. Basically what it's saying, are you going to choose your divine ordained path, aka that of the soul, or are you going to choose the path of your ego? Be in the world, but not of it. So when you belong to the divine, meaning the divine connection between your higher self and the physical realm, when you belong to something higher, you connect with something higher, you become one with that. You can't be of this world, meaning this physical reality, this 3D reality that we're in, it's a dense reality. It's it's one of the low levels until you get, the fourth is kind of like in between. You go up higher, the fifth dimension, so on and so forth. This is the lowest level. So when you're disassociated and detached from your spiritual self, you'll be completely codependent and restricted in this false reality, which is dense anyway. So when you're governed by the soul first, which is connected to the all, it's connected to the unseen world first and foremost. So when you first do that, then you can govern your physical reality because you're able to discern. So you're on this physical planet for a reason, but you cannot become fully engulfed in it because you're a spirit being first. If that makes sense. So with that being said, choosing the divine path within yourself, therefore God, ultimately aligns you with and leads you to all other divine connections, not just romantic ones, but those that are assigned to your life. So any connection that is God ordained, that spirit God sends to you, or your angels, your spiritual team aligns you with, is a divine connection. Divine connections does not solely have to be, a romantic connection, if that makes sense. These can be friends, family members, people that are sent to help you or you to help them, and vice versa. So then we get into the devil card, because you got to have the duality, right? But because if you look at the lovers and the devil, they're one and the same, but it's different energies, right? So depicted in the devil card, you have the Baphomet. The Baphomet is an androgynous being. It's female and masculine as well, but it's of a lesser power of creation rather so than a higher state of the feminine masculine principle. Anyway, so the man and the woman on the card, they're trapped by their own self-deception and their own misguidance from the lovers. Let's say you choosing to not honor your path in some way, whether it's for a day, couple of hours, couple of minutes, you're spiraling, going into a dark space within yourself, or your person chooses not to, or a month, days, years, whatever. These two are depicted in being stuck in the lower realms. So it could be the lower realms of their thinking, their feelings, their actions, their being, their behaviors. So this card is Capricorn. It's a Capricorn, the zodiac card, or the zodiac that is of the devil card is Capricorn, which is the earth sign. So represents the 3D. It also represents the lower chakras, the lower self. As the lovers is Gemini ruling. So Gemini is an air sign, so it rules the air. It's the heavens, or the higher state, the higher chakras, and the higher self. So there's a duality. So if you look at the female in the card, she's trapped. And they both have tails. The male and female have tails, which represent their animalistic nature or the lower self. Her tail holds the fruit of her divine abundance that's on that tree in the lover's card. I kind of correlated the two. But anyway, it represents her divine abundance, her divine birthright, and who she is in her creation. So if you look at the masculine, his tail is a fire, which is being fueled by the devil in the card. So you can say it's like a duplicate of the fire of God on the burning bush behind him on the lover's card, right? So what I got from this is his path is being ordered by a lesser path or a lesser power right now into a destructive one. So he therefore isn't aligned with his divine calling, which he was called to in the lover's card. His power is now being given to the ego, the lower self. So when you've given your power, your of dominion away to the ego or to dark forces and dark energies, you're not in your right state of mind. Therefore, you're not leading with your heart. So there's no unity here within self, therefore with your mate. So the fruit on her tail, the female in the card, it's still lively, and the only reason why it's alive is because her birthright can't be taken from her. In essence, it's the word still stands The promise still stands. But for now, she's in a state where she maybe forgotten her purpose, or she's confused about it, or she's discouraged altogether about her purpose or her birthright, because she's under the illusion she's in a dark space. So whenever we get in a space where we start self-sabotaging, or we start negatively thinking about things, we give into our fears, we get in that dark space and we're not able to see things as it is. We're under the illusion of that lower self. We're too in the 5 or the 3D, like we're too low into this, or low. So she's discouraged altogether, or she's confused, or she's forgotten. And this is because she's given her power and divine authority of creation away. She can't see her worth nor her value. Her connection to spirit is cut off right now. So if you look at the masculine, his fire is now being fueled by the devil. Therefore, he's taking orders and instructions by the lower self, giving to dark energies, giving his power away to these dark energies. He's not led by the light of spirit as he was in the Lover's card. Therefore, he's useless to the journey right now and destructive. He can become toxic and also inactive completely towards the union. Like, what good would he be in that energy besides being destructive and toxic? So from here, like being in this position, this is the karmic energies. This is where the karmic energies are set in place, and where the dark forces can use certain agendas to keep you stuck and attempt to destroy your path. So karmic connections can now enter to destroy you and take you off of your path. And when I say karmic connection, it does not always have to be a romantic connection with someone. And when you're in this devil energy, you're too focused on the physical. You're stuck in the physical realm. There's that spiritual connectedness is blocked. So now the fears, the low vibrational patterns, your insecurities, your traumas, your trauma bonding, your karmic slash toxic partnerships, selfishness, deceit, disharmony, addiction, jealousy, codependency, obsessions, and stagnations, and etc. have now manifested. So these two, in essence, they are bound, they're stuck, which symbolizes spiritual bondage. They're in spiritual bondage in this card. So like I said, you can be in this energy, in this position for days, a couple of minutes, an hour, could be days, could be weeks. So to break this cord, to break this chain, the spiritual bondage, it requires true discipline. It requires accountability, responsibility, perseverance, faith, compassion for self. And you put all of that energy into the work in order to break the chains. And I always encourage prayer, working with your spiritual team, because you're not doing it by yourself. It's not a one-time thing. Like sometimes you got to continue to break something until it's off, and there's layers. Like if you think of your healing like an onion. I was saying this to one of my readings I did for someone. Let's say your ex, the ex that cheated on you, that beat you, did everything under the sun that was painful to scar you into not wanting to get into another relationship ever again, or to fear love altogether. Let's say that they are the onion. But when you start opening the onion, you start peeling back the layers, the traumas that person inflicted. It's not that you're just releasing the person, but you're also releasing and uncovering different parts of what that person did to you psychologically. The trauma, the word curses, the physical abuse, the abandonment, the betrayal, all those things have to be uncovered. So some people, and this is from my experience too, I'll say like, oh, I thought I released it. But you're releasing the whole, but with that whole there's layers to it. There's levels, as they say, to it. So you're healing because you're doing the work, but you still have to continue until it's broken off of you. It's steps. Like people that are breaking addiction, at first it's a process of cutting it off. And then you got to go through the process of having the withdrawals, which is the most painful process, because you're clearing all that toxic energy out of you. And then there's steps. You got to go through the mental aspect of it and the learning of why it's, you know, this addiction, what it does to you and how to break it. And then you got to learn how to reshape your life without that thing that was once attached to you or you were once attached to. It's a process. And as I was typing all of this, my Bible app sent me my verse of the day. And the verse of the day was Ezekiel 43:26. It says, 7 days shall they purge the altar and purify it, which is the body. The altar is the body. They purge the altar and purify it, and they shall consecrate themselves. Consecrate is clearing yourself of what is not of your highest good, or consecrating yourself for a sacred divine purpose. The altar is sacred, right? Your body is sacred. You are a sacred vessel, especially if you are being called into divine purposes and paths and connections. So it might be a message for someone to fast and to cleanse only if you're led to do this, like purge yourself of, could be of something, you know, vices and things like that, or it could be food, it could be things you're watching, it could be talking on the phone or going on social media, or you're purging yourself of something, or you're consecrating yourself of what doesn't serve you in whatever way you're led. Typical fasting sometimes is water or no food for a day or a couple of days. Some people can like go. I done heard somebody literally say they done went 40 days without anything but water. And you can sustain, but I don't think you're supposed to do that often. But I've heard of it, so it's possible. But you gotta like really ask spirit for discernment, and if that's for you, fast with an intention. The intention is consecrating yourself of anything that is being used as a block to yourself, or self-unity within self, and therefore unity with others, especially your divine connection or your divine partner. Anything that's essentially anything that's blocking your path, your divine path, the path that spirit called you to. So back to the devil card. The devil card is Saturn ruling, because Capricorn, their planet is Saturn. So Saturn energy brings revolution. It's destructive. It also it's life altering at times. This planet is good for shadow work and clearing your karma, especially on Saturdays. Shadow work on Saturdays is, you know, if you work with planetary magic or planetary work, because, you know, the stars is connected to the heavens. In essence, it's a connection with us. So when you work with certain planets on certain days, the energy and the power is more magnified. But yeah, Saturn is also the planet or the god of time. So you can also work with shifting energies and timelines and clearing old timelines, and even going as far back as generational things, like doing that type of shadow work as well. So I found a web reference about Saturn. I thought that was helpful as well. It's astrology.tv. So they were talking about the planet Saturn and how it's useful, how it is useful. So personal and spiritual growth comes through tackling Saturn's challenges and learning the lessons this planet is determined to enforce. Saturn highlights where in your life you may face burdens, limits, or fears. It suggests how you both express and react to authority. Saturn will also reveal the lessons you are likely to learn in this lifetime. Your Saturn sign is where you grow and where you mature. Saturn is sometimes known as the planet of karma because it teaches us that our actions have consequences, always. The astrological Saturn is all about responsibility, duty, and limitations. This is sober, serious energy, and it comes with an authoritative voice. You can think of Saturn as your inner parent. Saturn brings you self-control and resilience and a healthy respect for boundaries. Structure and conformity are also Saturn's qualities, as its determination. Saturn energy is hardworking and disciplined and not given to flights of fancy. Okay. So the Tower card follows after the Devil card, right? So yeah, the Devil's 15 and the Tower 16, yeah. So the Tower follows after. So the Tower prepares you for the darkness that will later be annihilated. To destroy any faulty foundations you have within yourself, therefore also with the out, in order to Not only just rebuild new, healthier foundations, but also bring in enlightenment. So, whatever is used essentially for your harm will always turn out for the greater good or for your greatest good. So, how else would you grow and glow if you didn't grow through some things? Like, that's pretty much the whole premise of it. And even when the dark forces use things against you, when you ultimately tap into your power, you go into your healing and you release yourself, you can utilize those things to empower you. These things therefore will later be used as testimonies. One of my eldest sisters, she sent me a video. It was a prophetic message, and the woman, this will stick with me, she said, how you going to have a testimony or how you going to have a testimony without a story? So how am I going to be able to inspire, teach others if I didn't grow through something myself? That's how you got to look at it, rather than what was me. And I get there sometimes, and trust me, I do. I can get into dark spaces within myself, but you got to pull yourself out of it. And thank God that you have divine intercessors that will also assist you with that. And sometimes divine intercessors are people in your life, or a stranger even, or something just comes up on your TV or on your phone, or it's something that will break you out of that. So sometimes it requires a major shift. Most of the time, if not always, it takes a major shift or an unexpected turn in order to wake us up and break us out of our deceptions and deliver us out of our dark situation, in order to get us back on track, or to just get us on track in general, in order to see the bigger picture. So after the tower, then you can see where you needed correction. After the tower is destroyed, you're able to understand what is it that needed correction, and realign with your connection with source at this point. And there it leads you, or it should lead you, to a place of healing and purification. That's where the healing process and the purification comes in, when you become aware of what needed correction so that you could shift it or change it. So jumping back to the Lover's card, the feminine energy looking up at spirit, represents our connection and our reverence for the Most High, and being connected to the All, and being looking towards the spirit realm first for our guidance and for our answers, before we look outside of ourselves and look into the physical and things around us, because this is only a projection of what is within, what is in the spirit. So another prophetic messenger, she said something that also stuck with me. Focus on the gift giver and not the gift. Focus on who gave you the calling in the first place, or that essence, or that spirit, the divine energy that gave you that, rather than focusing on that which. So let's say your divine promise is you're going to have a baby, right? And God told you you're going to have a baby, blah, 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 or you're going to have twin babies, blah, blah, blah. And you're just like, oh, well, I'm not pregnant yet. I can't get pregnant. Me and my partner, we've tried, and this happened and that happened, and I'm not getting pregnant fast enough. And my friend, she's now pregnant, and all this other stuff. And you're looking outside of the self rather than what spirit. You're not looking to spirit to see what's going on, like what's up. And it's okay to be like, God, well, you said this to me. What's going on? I don't know. I'm confused. I'm stuck. Like, you got to go there first before anything else. As above, so below. It's not above and then shit, or below and then let's go up to the above. It's out of flow with the divine universe. So now we're going to start the reading, and Spirit is saying to channel the message for what was just said, how this applies to those who are divinely meant to receive this message and guidance at this time. How does the message apply to those that watch this, or rather listening, because this is the audio? You got 3 8s. Wow, you got the Eight of Cups, the Eight of Pentacles, and the Eight of Swords. 888, that could be someone's number, or that's significant to someone watching. Someone is being led to walk away. Someone's actually been working their way up to letting go of something in their past, completely walking away, emotionally detaching from that which doesn't serve them. And because there's, you know, multiple people that watch this, this will vary for who this is meant to resonate with, as far as like what you're emotionally needing to detach from, because in essence you know what it is. And it's something that the lunar eclipse revealed to you, because if you look at the Eight of Cups, I believe it is a lunar eclipse being depicted on that card, the Rider-Waite version. So this is something that you're being guided. It's something with the root chakra. It's something at the root that it's a foundation, not a solid one, but it's something that someone is firmly stuck in. It's almost like a stubborn energy that is being broken out of. Someone's been working their way towards releasing it, but there's like this block in the mind. It's like this fear of almost like it's hopeless. And that is the breakthrough. That the enemy is lying, or we lie to ourselves, that part of ourselves that is lying, that doesn't believe that you can get free from whatever this thing is. It's something that's major. And it's like once you break this energy, it's off of you, because it's in the mind. Yeah, you're free. The Six of Swords. This energy is in the mind. It's a belief system, but it's an attachment emotionally nonetheless. And I feel like the Six of Swords is divine. It's a divine intervention. There's a divine intercessor that is guiding you past this energy. And it's not going to be easy, but you're doing it. Do not allow your mind to deceive you and trick you into thinking that you're stuck. I feel like this is a divine feminine energy, or someone is needing to do this in order to align with their divine feminine energy within self, or the divine feminine counterpart, or this is a divine feminine counterpart that's breaking free. Someone, their restriction could be their self-esteem. For some, it could be fearing a lack of direction, fear of the unknown. I feel like it could be both for some people. A masculine and feminine are mirroring each other when it comes to the fear of breaking this, or kind of having a hard time with breaking this energy, being in your head about it, not seeing things clear. So one person, it's self-esteem issues, and one, it is self-esteem and or direction, the lack of feeling guided, or someone being stubborn. It's like there's a part of the self that's like, I'm working through this, I know I can do this. Someone's living a double life, because there's an Empress and there's a High Priestess. I feel like divine feminine is also representative of the High Priestess and the Empress as well, because it represents two different facets of the feminine. One being, they're both receptive. One being of abundance and being well off, taken care of in their birthright. And the High Priestess being that of their inner power, their inner strength, their gift, their spiritual gift, their teaching. Someone may be living a double life because there's two feminine energies here, or keeping this feminine energy a secret as a whole if it has nothing to do with another person. Spirit is instructing and guiding someone into their journey, into their divine path. It's like, and that's what someone is soul searching and seeking. And through soul searching and seeking this, I feel like I'm picking up on a masculine energy. Through doing this soul searching and seeking of your path, you're going to get forward movement with your feminine energy, or you're aligning with your feminine energy, because this is something that is already written. It's just all about coming into alignment. Yeah, the Ten of Cups. So the Ten of Cups is reaching that place of fulfillment, emotionally, joy, that was hard fought for. It wasn't an easy process to get to this place. So what I mean by this is when you think of the suit of cups, you start off with the ace. This is the divine opportunity. This is the divine blessing. This is the gift. This is the promise. Of these are the overjoy of emotions. Then you come into contact with that which sparks your soul, which resonates with your soul. It's a mirror of love. It's celebratory energy as well with the three of cups. And then, you know, that bubble phase, that honeymoon phase, it bursts, it pops, and then it's kind of like all the fears and the wounds start to come up. One partner, maybe, I don't deserve this person, or abandonment issues might come up, or the fear of rejection might come up. All these different things come up, and you're not able to see that promise behind you with the Ace of Cups. In the Four of Cups, there is an opportunity from the divine saying, this is still for you. Don't lose sight. You're looking at the Three of Cups. You're looking at what was and where it's no longer at. Then you get to the Five of Cups. The Five of Cups is the despair, believing that all is lost. Then that's the point of when you're hopeless and you don't see that. Remember, it still stands. Not only did I have the one cup for you in the Four of Cups, but now in the Five of Cups, I still got two cups standing. You're still dwelling over these other cups. You're still crying over these three cups on the ground of what was. Some of you, these Three of Cup energies is past connections that failed. Then you get into the Seven of Cups. You get in your delusions. You start questioning everything. You start doubting. You try to make sense of everything. You try to look for answers in past cups that you've tasted. And then someone might be dwelling in Seven of Cups energy of, I'm tasting this cup. Oh, let me get with this person. Let me sleep with that person. Trying to find that fulfillment that you found in the Two of Cups initially with that person, or that essence or that desire of a connection that you felt or you were looking for, and that spirit promised you. If it's not a person that sparked that, then it was an experience. It was a promise that you had in an image or a vision that spirit gave you in spirit or in a dream or whatever. So you get in that Seven of Cups energy, but there's one cup that you can't see what's behind it. And it's like, you got to have blind faith that everything that you've experienced, it's not going to be the same. Like this one cup, it's not going to be like, it's not going to be like the others. So that's there. The first card in this spread that I pulled was the Eight of Cups. So we are in the Eight of Cups energy now. So someone is now getting to a place where they have to detach from that lie that they told themselves in the past, that love is always going to be the same, or still healing and releasing whatever it is that they're required to release in order to get to the Nine of Cups, which is self-fulfillment, which is an overjoy, which is a feeling of being overjoyed and being content and being joyful within the self. Because the key to true love is knowing that you are love, and that love is something that belongs to you already, that you already are that is your essence, that's your beginning, that is your end. So anything that is connected to you, essentially you'll experience that outwardly. So then you get to the Ten of Cups, which is where you come into that unity with another, and it's well worth it. The rainbow in that card depicts the promise of God, the covenant with God, the promise after the rainbow, after the storm, after everything that you went through. This is that is why they're celebrating. And it's also an inner joy with the inner child, with those two children there in the Ten of Cups, which we have here. So what's missing is the Nine of Cups. Someone is still navigating or learning to be self-content and full within themselves, whether or not this person is present in their life, or whether they respond to you the way that you want them to, or react the way that you want them to or not. You still have that fulfillment within yourself. So the inner child element in the Ten of Cups to me is like, your inner child are in a place of joy, in a place of fulfillment, because the inner child is a divine compass to us as well. It's a powerful force. Children walk in their inspirations, they walk in their dreams, their goals. They have no limitations. Their mom could say, I ain't got no money to go to Disneyland, but somehow they're going to manifest a Disneyland trip. Somehow it's going to happen. They just know it. They don't know how, but they just know it. And if they don't manifest as a child, somehow they get there as an adult because they're going to make it happen. It was a seed that was planted a long time ago. And if it's something that you earnestly believe, sometimes you forget about things that you manifested and it happens. That's the power of surrender and release. Detaching from the outcome and how it's going to happen. Just knowing that it's going to happen, however and when and where it's going to. But that Ten of Cups is a testament of the entire journey and the promise being fulfilled in spite of the rainstorm. So that is, I'm going to leave it right there because I feel like that was it. We're not going to overdo it. That is it. I hope that this message blesses someone. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching. And until the next reading, until next time, peace.